Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lucky to talk to me, funny lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
And he's joining me right now to talk about the Champions of Magic, which is going to be going down at the Smart Financial Center here in Houston, Texas on March the 10th. He's here to talk about it right now. Fernando Velasco. Fernando, how you doing?
Good. Excited to be here.
Look, I'm excited to talk to you. I am such a fan of magic and illusions and everything of the sort. So if you could just give people watching or listening right now, what can they expect to see from the Champions of Magic?
Yeah, so look, for Champions of Magic, you can expect to see four magicians with three different styles of magic. You've got Young and Strange, who are a comedy duo and do a grand scale illusions. So like sawing people in half, appearing people. One of them even shrinks to about this size. But then you have Holly England, a Vegas magician, who does very artistic magic. Then you have me. I mainly do escapes. So like Harry Houdini's water torture cell. I recreate that, a straitjacket escape under this huge metal teeth that close shut if I don't escape in time. And then what makes this show really unique is you actually have all four magicians doing magic together. So it's not like an ensemble magic show where, an act might come on, do their thing, then leave. Here, all four of us actually do magic together at the same time. So like we predict some of the things that the audience are going to be saying. We borrow some objects from the audience, and then we do magic with that. So yeah, and then there's a few surprises as well that we do together.
Oh man, it sounds like such a fun time. And again, Houston's always had an affinity for magic. We used to have the Magic Island here for a very long time, and then
wow,
of course there was a legendary magic shop, Frankel's, here in town, which I remember going to as a kid and getting magic lessons. I remember they taught me the cups and bowls when I was a kid.
You're kidding.
No,
wow.
I used to love just the idea of illusions and magic and performance. And that's what, to me, is so impressive about what people like yourself and the rest of the Champions of Magic do, is this is such an elaborate performance, and it's really a high wire act, more akin to a circus tightrope performer, because there's so many things that could go wrong, right? I mean, let me ask you this. How do you pivot?
Sometimes.
And they do, right? How do you pivot when that happens? Like, what's your reaction?
Well, sometimes we might be as surprised as the audience. Other times, you just have to roll with the punches and then try to find ways out. Like, a lot of the times in magic, we might be a little bit ahead of the audience. So sometimes, something wrong is going to happen, but you're trying to find a way out of it before you get there, and the audience realizes. So like sometimes I might know something's about to go wrong, and I start sweating, man. I'm like, okay, how do I get out of this problem? But then other times, you get hit, and something might just surprise you. But that's the beauty of live entertainment, You never know what can happen. And then in this show also, you were talking about how the big scale of it. Champions is literally one of the world's largest magic shows, touring magic shows. We got so much pyrotechnics, stadium style lighting, and then a lot of big magic.
Yeah, no, I watched some of the trailers and was watching some of the feats that y'all do pull off, and the production behind this is insane. Let me ask you
It
this:
is.
what's the genesis for you though? Where did it start? Where did you first get the bug?
Oh man, when I was 11, I moved from Mexico to the U.S. and my dad actually worked in a place called the Magic Castle. And then
Okay.
the Magic Castle is like the capital of magic in the world. All magicians from all over the world perform there. It's in LA. And he took me when I was 11. And honestly, the moment I walked through those doors, I mean, I was instantly bitten by the bug and I wanted to learn magic. And then much like you, I started going to magic shops and learning tricks, and magicians at the castle were kind enough to help me, teach me, mentor me, took me under their wing. And then by 14, I joined at the Magic Castle Junior program, which is like a very select few magicians, young teen magicians from all over the world. And I was lucky enough to get in, and I was debuting by 14.
Oh man, yeah, the Magic Castle again is a legendary place in Los Angeles that I've always wanted to attend myself. But I know celebrities come by, they watch shows, sometimes they
Yeah,
perform themselves.
yeah,
Some celebrities who are amateur magicians.
exactly. I
I've
mean,
heard
it's
Jason
yeah, it's
Alexander do
it's
that.
like Neil Patrick Harris. He was one of the presidents. He was also in the junior program. He's a great magician. And then yeah, like Johnny Depp might come by a lot. I performed for Charlie Sheen there. Like yeah, it's one of the most exclusive plays in clubs in LA, really.
Now, when you say you focus more on the Harry Houdini style escapes, I mean that's what he was
Hmm.
more known for than his close-up magic or card tricks. I actually think Harry Houdini said that you're not a magician if you don't do cups and balls, but he himself didn't do the cups and balls really. I
that's
remember reading that. But so
that's
why
funny.
did
I
that?
don't do it either.
Well, there you go. So it's not a true statement. But
Maybe not.
why did you want to focus on escapes and more of that type of illusionary?
I didn't choose it. I think it chose me actually.
Okay.
I started with like a bird act, and then I started doing illusions. And then when I started doing my own shows, I really liked being able to give the audience something just a little bit different. So not just an illusion, but something that might actually make them worry or, give them a different feeling. So I started doing like an escape at the end of my shows, right? Um, and then when I joined Champions, they were aware that I could do escapes, and at the time we were filling like gaps for the show, and the producers of the show just kind of went, well, I think you're the escape artist, and so it just happened. I just happened to have the escapes around in my repertoire, and yeah, it suddenly became what I was known for. I was going on TV doing it, and yeah, next thing you know, I just looked around and I realized I was an escape artist.
Now, when you talk about being on television versus a live performance, I feel that magic really is an art form that you have to see in person. I mean,
Yeah,
it can work on television, but it has such a stronger impact on you when you're there and you
what
see it. Because you know how people are. They're
100%.
like, wait a minute, it's on TV. Was there a cut?
Camera
Was there a
trick.
camera? Yeah, where did it
Yeah,
go? But when it's right there in front of you, that's why I've always loved close-up magic and street magic. When I go to Vegas and somebody's there, I always want to stop and watch because I'm always impressed when people are right there in front of you. Do you agree with that sentiment? It's something that's better live.
100%. I mean, if you haven't seen magic live, you haven't seen magic. I mean, you have to experience it at the theater because, like you were just saying, when you watch it on TV, you might think there's camera tricks. You can come up with so many possibilities. But when it's happening right there in front of you, just a few feet away, then yeah, I mean, there is no explanation. And actually, in the show, you were just talking about close-up magic. We actually have a few segments when like Holly England goes right in the middle of the audience with a camera, and she performs some close-up miracles on the big screen.
Well, I mean, and that's the kind of stuff that I love. And the thing about magic, so full disclosure,
Yes.
Fernando, is I'm a hellacious pro wrestling fan. I've worked around pro wrestling forever. And I do
Wow.
see a lot of things that are similar between a pro wrestling live event and a magic live event. And the main thing that I see is it is physical storytelling. And storytelling is such an important aspect to magic. It's not just about the
100%.
illusion, it's the story that you're presenting on stage. Would you agree with that?
100%. You have to give a meaning, because a trick can just be a trick and be pointless, but there has to be a meaning behind it. There has to be a story, That's personally one of the things that I love about magic the most, that I get to share stories with the audience and hopefully have them mean something to them, and yeah.
Yeah, because a trick might be cool for the moment, but that story will last for a lifetime. Is what
Exactly.
And that's what you're
Exactly.
going to
So
see
much more meaningful.
That's what you'll see at the Champions of Magic again at the Smart Financial Center, March the 10th here in Houston, Texas, Sugar Land, Texas. To stay sharp though on these things, because it's such a physical feat, especially when you're the escape artist. I mean, what do you have a training regimen? Do you have like a nutritionist and a trainer?
Oftentimes when I've been off the road for a while, it's really hard coming back into that first show. And so, I work with like a physical trainer. I have a very strict diet. But then right now we were just off of a tour for about 3 weeks. I just keep on top of it myself, training, exercising. Breath holds is the most important for like the water tank, because it can be really dangerous otherwise. But it's just for me staying physically fit and mentally fit, so maybe meditations every morning. And
Sometimes when you're so close to something that you love, some of that, for lack of a better term, magic can go away. But are you still impressed by other magicians when you see them, your other cohorts on the show, and go, wait a minute, I didn't expect that?
It doesn't happen as often, but when I do, oh man, it's such a good feeling, Or when I see some a magician that maybe his artistry might be really good, I just go, man, I mean, that's really what I love. So to answer your question,
What do you think makes a great magic trick or a magic or illusion, for lack of a better term?
I think it goes back to what we were just saying, a story.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a great mentalist in the UK named Darren Brown. I saw Darren Brown's show, and you walk out there not being sure if it was a magic show or what it was, just because the tricks were hidden within like more meaningful stories, that the tricks almost fly under the radar. I mean, moments of wonder being created through the show. And so, did I answer your question?
Yeah, no,
I feel like I got sidetracked there.
And you know what? You bring up mentalism, which has always been something that's fascinated me, because I had a I don't know if you would even call it a trick performed on me that was mentalism, where a magician had 6 items in front of me, told me to think of one in my head, and he would figure out which one it was, and it was correct. And I was trying to figure this out forever, and I still haven't really. But what is your feeling on mentalism? Because, like you said, it is magic, but it's also like I don't know, some sort of physics or something behind it.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll be honest with you. Growing up, I didn't really like mentalism. I just thought I found it a little bit slow and boring. And if you're not the person getting your mind read, it can feel like it's just a stooge. But when it's done well, oh my God. I mean, it is impossible, because you're literally reaching into people's minds and extracting information. There really isn't anything like it, because it's propless. When you see illusions, you go, oh, maybe the person's hiding in the box or something. But with mentalism, I mean, you're clean, It's just magic.
There's nothing there. Now, were you the kind of person, and are you still the one, maybe when you're out at a social affair or something like that, they're always coming to you saying, hey, show us something, show us something, show us something. And do you get annoyed by that?
A really funny question. I did used to get a little bit annoyed and go, I'm doing magic all the time. When I go out, the last thing I want to do is do magic. But in truth, that love for showing people tricks has completely come back. And Yeah, now I love it again. I mean, it's a superpower that we got. So why not use it?
It is a superpower. And do you still think of, whether you're on the road touring with champions and magician, or if you're, at home or what have you, or at the Magic Castle in Los Angeles, are you always thinking of like, what's my next great illusion going to be, and tinkering around with it?
I mean, 100%. And what's really funny is I love it. The last few days, I realized that all that's been consuming my inner thoughts is magic and creating new things and ideas. And I love it. I go, yeah, I like it because it keeps things fresh. We're currently working on a brand new show. So I've got that in the back of my head. And I mean, I'll wake up with an idea. I'll be in the shower, boom, an idea pops up. And look, they're not all great. But the fact that your brain is always working, and then, got a little notebook where you can always be writing your ideas, it's really nice. It's not a job if you love it. And I've never had to work a day in my life.
Well, what I love about, too, the concept of y'all's show is it is for magicians are working together, or champions
exactly.
of magic working together. And to me, you've always looked at, when like the famous magicians, in years past have always been a single act, whether, David Copperfield or David Blaine or Chris Angel. How is it having to collaborate and share the space, share the stage? And do you sometimes say, hey, you know what? I know I'm the escape artist, but you know what would be a really great trick for y'all if y'all did something like this?
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly collaborating. I'll be honest, this has been an ongoing work in progress for the last 5-6 years. And at first, it wasn't really easy to collaborate because we're all so different that, you could easily bump heads. But now, I mean, we're the best of friends, and we are always suggesting new ideas. Like I'll watch my friends Young and Strange for the front, and I'll suggest things. Young or Strange will watch me and suggest things. Same for Holly. We all come, even though we do different styles of magic on the show, we all come from like such a broad background. Like Young and Strange are the illusionists, but they really were close-up magicians for many, many, many years. I'm the escape artist, but my main thing was always illusion since I was 14, And then Holly, she's like one of these new up and coming magicians, but she's been working with the greatest magicians in the world since she was in her early 20s. She used to be an assistant, a dancer in the shows, and now she merged into being a magician. So it's really amazing.
Well, it is amazing. It sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. And I know everybody here in Houston is really excited about the Champions of Magic. Again, Smart Financial Center on March the 10th. Tickets still available at smartfinancialcenter.net. Fernando, man, thank you so much for taking the time. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects, magic.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
I really
can't wait to be back in Houston.